morning, when I'd go to my neighbor's house before school, she'd scold her kids to fix their rat's nest. To my neighbor, a rat's nest was incredibly messy, tangled bed hair her children had to brush out before going to school. But my everyday rat's nest wasn't temporary or fixable. I despised every aspect of my hair, from the disgustingly brown color to the uneven curl pattern. Just like my hair rested awkwardly on my shoulders in an unflattering, bushy bob for most of my childhood, the identity tied to my curly mane settled uncomfortably in the pit of my stomach. In 3rd grade, I woke up late for picture day, leaving no time for my mom to style my hair in a messy bun or stubby braid. Instead, my hair shaped my face like a triangle, a look that complemented my missing front tooth and obnoxiously floral top. In line for pictures, I overheard the phrase, "Arabs are evil," slip from the peanut butter covered mouth of a grimy 8-year-old. Now, this wasn't much different from the other racist conversations that circulated the classroom the week of the Texas Fort Hood shooting. But their words had no consequence because I kept my mouth shut. As long as I wasn't the correct shade of Aladdin, I wasn't the picture-perfect Arab terrorist xenophobic parents force-fed their children. In 7th grade, I decided to take a risk and remove my hair from the tight elastic bands I resorted to for years. It only took one curly hair routine on YouTube to inflate my confidence. The result was a rough mop of curls with randomly dispersed hair knots and an overly exaggerated side part. Only minutes into the school day, the Tuesday of our middle school spirit week, did my anxious friend have the nerve to ask if she missed Crazy Hair Day. That same week, we started a new unit in geography about world religions. Getting up to sharpen my pencil and say hi to my friends in the back of the class, I overheard my peers snickering about the class syllabus, snickering about how my God was the devil. Yet again, I didn't say a word. Whatever Muslim looked like, I didn't look like it, and I wanted it to stay that way. Freshman year, I came up with the ingenious idea of spending hours curling my curls in the exact style and shape that I wanted to. Instead of achieving the perfect model bouncy curls I'd hoped for, I ended up burning my forehead with a scar to prove it and walking around with bright white aloe vera cream for a week. The same day of that incident, a girl came up to me and asked if she could guess what I am. Now, I'd convinced myself that the lab that day was as mundane and uneventful as watching grass grow, for it was the only explanation I could come up with for such an unusual question to ponder during gel electrophoresis. Instead of a simple question about my ethnicity, the question of where my parents were born was turned into an uncomfortable game show. But I played along, let her shout random countries, because I didn't want to seem too sensitive or too cold. After a minute, I abruptly ended her interrogation with the answer to her simple question. Rather than resolving the issue, I was drowned out by her shocked response on how I didn't look like it. How my name was slightly weird, and hair texture was definitely a yellow flag, but never in a million years did she think I could be Arab. Growing up in a predominantly white elementary and middle school, I've heard my fair share of comments, rumors, and speculations about Arabs and Muslims. Enough to make me a coward in front of my peers and refrain from sharing that I was Muslim and Palestinian American. But while I pitied myself and my pre-adolescent identity crisis, my fellow peers who looked like stereotypical Muslims or Arabs faced the wrath of rampant racism and Islamophobia. Straightening or curling my hair was similar to how I masked my identity so I wouldn't have to deal with the negative perception of my origin. I had the privilege to identify as Muslim and Palestinian when it made me cool. and pass as white when the terms Muslim and Palestinian were synonymous with terrorists. I became as guilty as the cool kids who bully immigrants because I never used my own voice to stand up against the ignorance that plagued my Naperville community. Now, straightening or curling my hair was only temporary, for I couldn't hide the bouncy coils in my ponytails or the frizzy baby hairs that escaped my blowouts on hot summer days. Due to the extensive damage I caused from showering every day in sulfate-infested shampoos to coercing a comb through my curls, I was forced to cut off 7 inches of dead hair as a sophomore, prompting me to learn more about my natural hair and embrace the unruly beast that I'd been avoiding for years. Just like I couldn't hide my hair from the world, it grew increasingly difficult to dismiss my ethnicity and religion as irrelevant accessories I could willfully remove and replace in public. While I still benefit from white privilege, I've also built up the confidence to stand up for myself and my heritage, rather than cower in a grave of pity and fear that I had dug for myself in the past. Today, I'm a proud daughter, friend, Muslim, curly hair adorning Palestinian American who hopes to one day make a difference in representing my background without the shock element.